Welcome to the #1 source for information, news, and opinion on your Columbus Blue Jackets. This is CBJ in 30, presented by Telhio Credit Union. You can also find the audio version on the CBJ Radio SoundCloud page, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play Music, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Now here's your host, Bob McElligott.
Welcome to another edition of CBJ in 30, presented by Telhio Credit Union. The Blue Jackets finished up their 4-game homestand with a win over the Florida Panthers. It took a shootout to get it done. It was a second consecutive shootout, but this time it goes in favor of the Blue Jackets as they win the game by the final score of 3-2. And they actually wind up winning 2 of the 4 games on the homestand, and they picked up points in 3 of all 4 games, right? They lose to Tampa in overtime, then beat Tampa. Yeah, they got points in all 4. So there, if I catch up, I'll tell you what, this has been it's been a quick homestand that feels like a forever homestand early in the season. Let me tell you, before I tell you more here, let me tell you about Telhio Credit Union. I'm doing this right after the game, so maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe I'm too tired and I should have waited to do it. Let me tell you about Telhio Credit Union. At Telhio Credit Union, they have been putting people ahead of profits since 1934. Now, that's a long, long time. I don't need to tell you that, right? But it brings a question to mind, and it's a question that should be answered easily. Why settle for a normal bank when you can use a credit union that puts you first? To find out more about them, all you have to do is go online to telhio.org. And just click through all the different tabs that they have. All the information is right there for you. So check them out. Telhio Credit Union online at telhio.org. So again, the Blue Jackets finish off the homestand with a win. They won't have much time to enjoy it because they're going to be right back on the ice tonight in Chicago, taking on the Blackhawks. Well, with Jack Rosslevick playing his first game for the Blue Jackets last night, he makes his Blue Jackets debut after being acquired last weekend in the trade with the Winnipeg Jets. We got to see a little bit of him. We're still waiting for Patrick Laine to get his visa situation in check so that he can get to Columbus and that he can join the Blue Jackets. But I figured that we could get a scouting report on both of those guys from someone that was a former teammate, and all at the same time get together with a friend who has recently retired and talk to him about what I think is a stellar career, a hardworking career, a well-deserved NHL career. I can get together with a friend and talk with him about that and get that scouting report on those players. I was all in for that. So without further ado, let me bring in former Blue Jacket Mark Letestu. You know, usually when I'm talking to retired people on this show, they look a lot older than you do, Mark Letestu. You're looking great, my friend. How are you?
Thank you. Feeling old. That's the main reason for the retirement, the old feeling. No, but it's good to see you again.
Well, it's good to see you too. And, you know, the last couple of years I know have been a challenge for you and with your health and the thing that you went through there. At what point did you just say, okay, this has been fun, this has been great, but it's time to turn the page and get off the ice and find a new chapter in my life?
Probably when I had to start getting back in the gym in the summer. And I kind of always knew that was going to be the point when it was time to hang it up. The injury, the heart condition, all that kind of stuff kind of became secondary. I'd kind of gotten through it. So I knew I was going to be healthy. If I wanted to play this year, I wouldn't affect my health long term. So I was clear of that. But when I had to get back in the gym and really grind to get ready for another year, I just didn't want to do it. And that was kind of the point where it was like, okay, it's time to, if I'm not really willing to be all in to prepare for a hockey season, it's probably time to find something else to do.
Well, and of course you have plenty of things to do there with a young family. So I'm sure that transition, it's a different transition for you, but as you sit here right now and waiting to see what the next phase in your life's going to be with your occupation, is it nice to get to spend that family time?
Yeah. And I got a bit of a kind of a free trial run with the heart condition. The Jets were great. They sent me home almost immediately. It wasn't a rehab situation where they could monitor me day to day. So they said, listen, you got a young family, go home and be with your family. So I've largely been home since last November. And so retirement, it hasn't been a sudden transition for me. I've kind of been able to reintegrate into, being more of a full-time dad and, being around. And sometimes that sounds crazy, but it is an adjustment. You just try not to be in the way. You know, mom's got her routines and the kids got their routines, and largely because of my career, you're not a part of it. So when you come back, you're kind of thrown into their life more full time. And honestly, you're just trying to stay out of the way. So it was good for me to kind of get that transition time. Now it's like wearing an old pair of shoes. I get to go coach hockey twice a week, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part of that part of their lives a little more often.
What's the challenge been with your family and with your kids during this whole pandemic? And, you know, when early on there was almost nothing you could do. And I mean, now, at least, as you said, you can get out and you can play hockey and you can coach a little bit. Was it a challenge, you know, especially early on in this for you?
I think everybody has their own challenges. Ours has certainly been with homeschool. Our children got some energy, and when it's mom or dad teaching math or long division, they don't want to hear it. So it's tough when they got all their toys and everything around to keep them disciplined. So that's been a new challenge. But I mean, we're kind of fortunate to be living in Ohio, where you know, we don't have all the freedoms, but we still got quite a bit. You know, my parents are up in Canada right now, and they're pretty locked down. So we got a full Little League season in. We haven't missed a hockey game. Kids are still going to school some of the time. So we're still pretty close to normal. And it's been a challenge, but less so than I think other people have had to deal with.
Are you coaching baseball too, or just hockey?
No, I like to be the dad about 3/4 away down the third baseline that just complains and grumbles, and we got a pod of us. So that's my spot. I like to coach from a distance, but not actually take the full commitment.
You know, I didn't like guys like you when I used to be coaching third base. You know that.
I totally understand.
Because the third base coach can still hear you, whether you think so or not.
Yeah, no, I think we're loud sometimes, but it's a lot of fun to be out there and to be a part of it. And but yeah, I'm definitely that guy, the guy that sits down the third baseline.
Hey, you talked about homeschooling. I don't know. I've done, like, my kids are older, and I've had to help with some things, but I found out that it is not a fun job whatsoever. Are you getting good at it at all?
No, I'm terrible. And I think it's because nobody learns the way I learned when I went to school. And I'm dating myself a little bit by saying the way when I went to school. But it's true that there's been a huge difference now in the way children are taught. I mean, I had to just memorize my multiplication tables. I didn't have to go through core math or whatever they're doing now. So it's been a process to have to relearn the way they learn. And it's not as direct as it was when I was a kid. So it's been a process.
As you said, you've been really kind of retired for a while now because you couldn't play before. But have you sat back and thought about the career that you've had? Because I thought about it. I thought about the first time I saw you play when I was in the American Hockey League and you were a Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguin. And then the Blue Jackets got you in the trade and you were here for so long, and then you left, and then you came back again. I mean, there are superstar guys whose careers just kind of jump out at everybody. But to me, there are guys like you that when I think of where I saw you, how I saw you, everything that you've done, I really respect the career, the playing career that you had in this game. How much have you thought about it?
Well, I've thought about it a lot. I think when you get my situation with a heart condition, you right away try to be a little bit, feel like what you've done in the past and maybe it's been enough. But it's been, I'm incredibly proud of it just because of the road that was taken, not being a drafted guy, like you said, playing in the minors for 3 years, which seems to be uncommon now for a guy that had a 13-year career. Largely most of my career's played after the age of 25. So a lot of the things that kind of stick out for me in my career is, it's stuff that I'm really proud of because it wasn't ever given to me easy, or at least I don't think it was, and I had to earn it. And as I did it, I earned a lot of respect from a lot of teammates and people in the game. And, the game's been really good to me that way.
And you've gotten a chance to be on the ice with some, I said superstar players kind of stand out and what they do. You've been right alongside of some of those superstar players in your career.
Yeah, and again, that's where kind of you just get lucky. When I signed with Pittsburgh, there was no intention of playing with Sid. It was just the intention of getting a paycheck from the Pittsburgh Penguins for a while. And, eventually you get a chance to play with them and you share some power play time with them. And then you move on and you end up with Conor McDavid for a while. And I mean, everywhere I've gone, I've got to play with great players. Even I got to play with Rick Nash when I first got here. And I mean, that was when Rick was, as prolific a goal scorer as the league had. So I've been so blessed with so many teams and coaches and players that it's kind of fun to look back on.
All right, settle the debate. Who's the best player in the NHL, Sidney Crosby or Conor McDavid?
I would probably still say Sid, and just because he's won, and I'm sure Conor would agree. Conor for he's going to win the skills competition any which way against anybody in the league. I mean, he's got lightning in his hands and his feet, and they all work together. But Sid, he still finds a way to still be incredibly productive now into his 30s. So I would say the longevity of it all, he still wins for me.
Yeah, I agree with you just because of that reason right there, because he's been so consistent for so long. But yeah, that doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching Conor McDavid. Well, you know how it is. Sometimes I don't enjoy watching Conor McDavid. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It makes my job tougher.
I knew that was going to be panned. You always give a Pittsburgh Penguin props around these parts. It's not them fighting words.
Yeah, I know. But I remember about Conor McDavid, the first time that we played in the old building in Edmonton, and Jonas Korpisalo was playing goal, and McDavid came in and scored like this sick goal on him. And just a little bit after that, there was a whistle, and it was by our net, and McDavid went up to Korpisalo, or they were right near each other. And then I saw McDavid start to laugh, and they had a close up on TV so I could see it. And I remember asking Jonas later, I said, what were you saying to McDavid that he started to laugh? He goes, I just asked him how he did that when he scored that goal. So, the fun little things. Do you miss that? Do you miss the on ice banter and the banter that you had overall with your teammates?
Yeah, not the on ice for me. It's the locker room. I think there'll always be something about the camaraderie, just being in the locker room, grinding with guys, joking with guys, and it never seemed to end. Went from the locker room to the plane to the hotel to the restaurant, then back to the room. You really were just a small family, and it didn't seem to matter if you got traded in season or if you went to a new team. That banter picked up right away. Like it was a very easy place to kind of feel welcome in a foreign situation. And I would guess that most professional sport locker rooms are not like hockey locker rooms. Just at how welcoming you could have, representation from 7 different European countries and 2 in North America, and everybody's still on the same page. It's just a really unique place, and probably what I'll miss most about not being a part of it.
Well, you're right about that, because I've been in locker rooms in other sports, and it's different. It's not, you're right. It's welcoming. I mean, one of the words today is inclusive. I don't think there's any place more inclusive than a dressing room in the National Hockey League, or any hockey level, quite frankly, right?
I think so. I think, certainly we have steps to take to be more inclusive. But as far as the representation in locker rooms that I've been a part of, I think we do a pretty good job of it. I think everybody's felt welcome. But yeah, the locker room, there's stuff that's gone on, the funny stuff, the pranks, the hard stuff, the tough meetings that now you look back on and you can laugh at. But it's all part of the process. It's all part of what I'll miss about the game.
And I think that's why a lot of guys stay connected with the game. And I don't know what your plans are, and I'm not going to ask you right now because I'm sure we'll find out somewhere down the road. But do you think that's why a lot of guys stick around the game? And I mean, sometimes big name guys still stick around the game. This is what I found about working in other sports. I worked in baseball for a long time, and there were very few guys that were really big star players that were they certainly weren't in the minor leagues coaching if they didn't have to be. But even at the major league level, you didn't see that many of them. Whereas you look at hockey, and heck, Wayne Gretzky was behind the bench in Phoenix for a while there. Mario Lemieux is part owner, and he's still in the building every night. You see guys like Chris Draper of the Red Wings, who was, a big part of what they did there for a long time. He's still scouting and on their staff, and Chris Chelios was doing the same thing. It seems like so many players, they just love to stay involved in the game. And how much of that, what goes on in the dressing room, how much does that have to do with just wanting to stay in touch and stay involved?
Yeah, I think you're probably pretty close to it. I can speak for myself where there's certainly a competitive aspect to it. You're still a part of a team. You're not putting the jersey on. You're not putting the helmets. Maybe it's a tracksuit or a suit. But you're still in the grind. There's still rivalries. Those guys up in the press box, they want to beat the Penguins just as bad as the guys on the ice. There's still a competitiveness that, although your body won't allow you to do it anymore, maybe just the team mentality, the front office getting wins, it has to be as satisfying, I would think. It's certainly different. But another thing, I think when you speak to those guys, the names you said, I think those were all great teammates. I think they all know how to be a part of a team. And that's what I think, maybe a front office position or coach, you're still a part of a team. It's just a different piece of it. And I think those guys are willing to accept their new roles to make the people around them better, make their organizations better, or whoever they're aligned with at the time. But I think there's personal pride when you talk about Mario being a Penguin and, Gretzky now with the Oilers and Draper with the Red Wings. There's a certain reason why those guys stay connected to those organizations. And I think it's because they identify with them, with that logo and with that city, and they're still doing things to make their sports teams and cities proud of them.
Well, let's talk about you in connection to a city. You mentioned you're here in Ohio. Of all the places that you could have settled down, this is where you decided that you wanted to be, that you wanted to raise your family in Columbus. And I think that's really important right now because there are many Blue Jackets fans that are hurt that there was another star player that wanted to go and play somewhere else with Pierre-Luc Dubois. And I've told them, look, you got to get over that. It's, players come, players go, but you want to get the players that actually want to be here and you want to be a part of this. Obviously you do, because you're right back here in Columbus. I think you could be maybe the best salesperson, spokesperson for the city of Columbus.
Well, it was a no-brainer for our family. Ever since I got here, there's always been a feeling of comfort. It's the people here. They just get it. Not fool themselves. They work hard. They expect hard work. It just makes sense to be here. Great schools. My family has never, ever had a bad day here. It seems like you want to see a cold day, go home right now. Edmonton, we hardly got any snow on the ground. It's winter. But I think it's a unique place to play. And I've seen it evolve. When I first got here, I remember the first game I played, we played Chicago. They beat the crap out of us. The crowd was 90% Blackhawks sweaters. And it was demoralizing. But as we started to win a little more and acquired a few more players, the fifth line kind of became the fifth line. Now they have a personal pride, a pride in the team, a pride in the city and representing. And I would challenge any building in the NHL to being as loud as in the playoffs. So I think that now that the teams kind of found themselves, the fan base has found themselves. Heck, we're still new. It's only 20 years in. This is a fairly new franchise, and I feel like they've found themselves as an organization. We're making the playoffs year after year. It's a lot of fun to be a part of. And I understand fans being upset. Players are going to leave. It's going to happen. But there's going to be somebody that comes along and falls in love with the place just like I have. And it's going to make it great.
I want to ask you this because, being from the Pittsburgh area and you having played in Pittsburgh, you just talked about the fans and how they've responded once the team started to play well. I think that this is a better market than that one for many reasons. I think it's a growing area, the metropolitan area here of Columbus. But I think it has the opportunity with good players and playoff runs year after year. I think this is a really good market for fans. And I think it'll be a better market than Pittsburgh when it's all said and done. Could you see that from, playing in both places?
Well, certainly. I chose to live here. I love it here. I think Columbus is, as a hockey franchise, hasn't had the same kind of dumb luck. I mean, the organization's gotten Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby. You've had two generational talents that have, at times, put Pittsburgh on the map. I'm sure it's a reason why Pittsburgh plays on NBC. Seems like 25 times a year. It's more just it's kind of being lucky. But that being said, I kind of like the Blue Jacket way. Always counted out every year, nonstop. Counted out the players, counted out the management, counted out the coaching. They get injured all year. They end up in the playoffs. They beat Tampa Bay. Like they continue to work and to grind. And I feel like that, to me, is a representation of the city. It's a representation of the people that just grind. Even I hear the narrative, of this recent trade with the Winnipeg and Columbus, how, Columbus is Winnipeg South. Well, that's said by somebody that's never been here. Probably by somebody that's never been to Winnipeg either. They're both excellent cities, and anybody that's spent time here truly knows what Columbus is about. It's a great city. It's my favorite city, and that's why I live here.
How much of that, what you talked about, the Blue Jackets way, how much of that do you credit John Tortorella for setting? Well, actually, Jarmo and John Tortorella. It's only fair to put those two together. Jarmo's getting the players, Torts is doing the coaching. Because you played here for Todd Richards and you played here with John Tortorella, so you've seen both sides and different styles of coaching. But what do you think Torts has done for this town and for this franchise?
Well, I think he's built upon some of the bricks that have been laid. I think Jarmo and John have done a good job of being ambassadors of that way of hockey. But I think it always starts at the top. I think, Mr. McConnell needs some credit in that, and John Davidson, who was here previous. I think all those people have brought in certain people that identify with the organization, are able to put forth certain values. And I think it's a trickle down. It's all the way through. So that's the way I see it. I love playing for Torts. I think, it didn't do the best for my career because it ended shortly thereafter, but that wasn't on him. I didn't play well enough. But I like his demeanor. I like what he demands from his players. And I always enjoyed playing for him. I think I lost 2 games while I was here in the regular season. So it's a lot of fun to play for him when you're winning.
All right, I want to ask you one last thing here because you brought this up. You've talked about Winnipeg. You talked about the players the Blue Jackets got in the trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Jack Rosslevick and Patrick Laine are coming in here. Rosslevick already in, and Laine still waiting for him to play his first game. But you were with these guys in Winnipeg. You were a teammate with them, with the Jets. What can we expect out of both? And I know Laine is the headliner here, but Jack Rosslevick feels the same way you do about Columbus because he was born and raised here. And is he a sleeper in this trade?
Well, I think he's only a sleeper if you don't follow the game. I think he's a former first-round pick. He's obviously been – Winnipeg's a deep team, really skilled up front. He's been kind of waiting in the wings for his opportunity, and it just hasn't come. That team's been so deep and so skilled that there's a chance now, maybe a breath of fresh air. He's going to get an opportunity to maybe play center, maybe play a little bit on the power play where he wasn't getting those opportunities, and maybe unlock some of that skill that's in there. But I played on the same line with him for a bit. It's undeniable how fast he is. He's got that high-end speed that opens up the ice for other players, and then the playmaking ability to find them. So I think he's going to help that team. no matter where they put him in the lineup, he's played down the lineup, but I think he probably wants a big opportunity. You know, he's going to change teams here and maybe find himself up in the lineup. And then Patty, I don't think there's ever been a goal scorer in franchise history like Patty. I mean, there's different players. You know, you've had Nash and Panarin, these kind of game-breaking players, but Patty, I've never seen a guy shoot the puck like that ever in practice. He scores so many goals in practice that it's habit. That's all it is. Goal scoring for him is a habit. And what truly impressed me about him is that he expects to score 4 every night. That's kind of the level of greatness that he expects for himself. And sometimes it comes off, you know, as him being frustrated with himself, or maybe he's down, but it's because he wants to be great. And I that's the one thing as a teammate I've seen in him, that he wants to score 60. He wants to score every night, and he wants to win. And in my short time there, he was nothing but a great teammate. So I think the fan base and the organization should be thrilled about what they're getting back. Obviously, you're losing a good player in PL and a high pick that was expected to be here for a long time. But these two guys coming in, I know they both want to be here and they both want to win. And I think as a fan base, you should be thrilled about that.
From the outside, and when I say outside, there's a lot of national media sources that right away jump on can Patrick Laine and John Tortorella coexist because, you know, Torts is so defensively minded. These are the same things I heard about before Artemi Panarin got here. And Artemi Panarin was just a hard worker and never had one problem with John Tortorella. He just went out and did his job and everything was fine. Do you see Laine being the same kind of player where he's going to come in and get his work in?
Yeah, I think the narrative of John being this tough coach, he's demanding, but he's fair. You come to work every day and you do what's asked of you. There's no reason star players. I mean, Artemi played 30 minutes some nights, you know, so I think guys see that. Star players are going to come in, you're going to work hard and give the team your best. You're going to get out there, and you're going to get out there a lot. And I think, again, Patty was playing behind some players in Winnipeg. He's probably going to get a chance to be the guy, to run with it a little bit. And if he comes in and does what I know he's capable of doing, it might even unlock another level to Patrick. And I think there's no reason why there can't be a coexistence of both of them on the same team.
Well, I hope you're going to have him over for dinner and tell him how great Columbus is and all that stuff since he's in a contract year. That would be nice.
Yeah, I've already reached out to him, so he's excited to be here. I welcomed him. I think he's going to love it. I think anybody that's ever spent time here loves the city. I hope he's here a long time, and I hope he brings something special to the fan base.
Well, as soon as the Chamber of Commerce sees this, they'll be calling you. There's no question about that. Maybe have a job there anyway.
Perfect. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Better than a school teacher.
Yeah, that's not for me. That's not the fit.
Mark, thank you for taking time. It's always great to talk with you. And, you know, you were talking about the dressing room, and that's where I used to really enjoy having the conversations with you in there after practice. And so this is great. It's good to talk to you again. And I hope I see you around. And, hey, I don't know what's going to work out with you, but, you know, I still have an empty chair next to me if that ever comes down the line somewhere. So the invitation is always yours, my friend.
Perfect. Keep it warm.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Always great to catch up with Mark Letestu, and I'm very much looking forward to see what the future holds for him. He's going to be in this business. I feel very confident in saying that. And even though, as I offered to him a chance to work together, even though I would like that a lot, I think he might be too smart for that. I can see him being a development guy or being in the front office. And as he said, being part of a team. So that wouldn't surprise me in the least. We'll wait and see what happens with him. But I really do appreciate him being on the show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Mark Letestu once again. The Blue Jackets on the ice tonight in Chicago. 8 o'clock is face-off time. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 this evening, both on Fox Sports Ohio and on the Blue Jackets radio network, which includes the flagship station 97.1 The Fan in Columbus. So it was a nice homestand for the Blue Jackets. Let's see if they can take the show on the road and pick up a couple of wins against a rebuilding Blackhawks franchise. Again, they're going to go at it tonight. And the first time they're going back-to-back with games this season, this shortened season. But coming off a win last night, they're probably eager to get out there and see if they can do it again. That's going to do it for this edition of CBJ in 30, presented by Telhio Credit Union. Until next time, I'm Bob McElligott saying so long.